Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So recently Ian did an art journal page for the mission inspiration at week 38, which was, the prompt was opposites. So this is the prompt card if you didn't manage to see it last Saturday. We ran through the prompt, so embrace the dance of contrast where light meets dark and joy follows sorrow. Like night and day, opposites bring balance and depth to life's experience. Navigate with understanding, for in duality lies growth. Celebrate the harmony born from contrast where each opposing force enriches the other, creating wholeness and unity in your journey. So that was the prompt for week 38. Like I said, Ian did the art journal page, but I've now got a gap in my art journal because I didn't do one. So I thought I would do one today. So that's my sheet that I'm going to stick onto. I'm going to be working on some cotton rag cardstock today. This is cotton rag watercolour paper made from the waste from... Sorry about that, my phone just rang and stopped the video recording. Bluetooth connections, fantastic stuff. Right, so as I was saying, cotton rag t-shirt made from the cotton rag paper made from the waste from t-shirts. So what I'm going to do, I'm just put that black card to one side, is I want to wet the watercolour cardstock, give it a bit of a soak, and I'm going to let that sink in for a second or two, or for a minute or two. Just dry up any excess water around the outside. So what I want to do is just make the paper moist, if you pardon the expression, and then I'm going to go back in again and add some more water on top of it once that water's kind of soaked in. So that'll need, like I said, a second or two. It'll start lifting up in a minute. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to use some of these shapes, new carte noir shapes. These are called little fishes. So there's, I think, 14 on the sheet. There's 7 fish, 2 of each, some in different, facing in different ways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, actually, before I pop those out, I'm going to use the white side today. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint on the sheet first before I pop them out, which is probably going to be a good idea because that way it'll be easier for me to handle them. He says, thinking, let's just take some of that excess water up from there. It's all running off now. In fact, we might actually just be ready to do that bit. So let me just pop that to one side again. Okay, as you can see, most of that water has now soaked into the page. So I'm going to add a bit more. Okay, it might actually be worthwhile flipping it over and adding some water onto the back as well, just to kind of even it out. This is the thing with watercolour cardstock, because it's dry. It's best if you get it wet. Oh, look at that. There's obviously some schmutz on my desktop that I haven't cleaned properly. Then it's reactivated. Oh, that's okay. Don't mind a little bit of yellow. There we go. That's it now. It's all settling down. All right, so another pass. Okay, and I'm going to get some indigo blue vivid watercolors. This is Little John, so this is blue. But I also want a tiny little bit of Robin Hood, which is green. That'll do. Don't need a lot of this stuff. And then I'm just going to put some more water on the desktop. You can see how pigment rich it is. That was just a tiny little blobby spray. Just there, look. And then I'm going to do a nice kind of wash. With that watercolour. And then just a little bit of the green, just to give it a bit of variation in colour. don't want it all blue. And then we'll just take a little bit more. And then just kind of blend it all out. Lovely. All right, and then I'm going to let that sit for just a minute or two. You can obviously encourage it with the heat gun if you want to, which I probably will do just for speed. I've got my wire wrapped around my chair leg, there we go. And it will dry a little bit lighter, as all watercolours do. All right, so I've had a little bit of a change of heart with the actual fish themselves. I think instead of painting, I'm going to ink them. So I've got some carved pumpkin, and I'm going to ink up before I start sticking these down. So let's just start adding in some colour. And like I said, this is the white side. I'm not going to use all of the fish. Only some of them. So if you're wondering about the set, this carte noir that I call it, the black card, it's 1,500 microns thick. So it is quite sturdy. Because it's black on one side, white on the other. So you could do silhouettes, or you could use the other side for painting on, or for inking, stamping, embossing, you name it, you can do it. I don't think I've got the yellow foam, so I'm probably going to have to use a new one. There we go. So let's just leave that one on. Let's replace that one. Bit of washi tape stuck to that. I don't know what that's doing on there. Right, so I'm going to use this yellow, this fossilised amber. As you could see, fairly new. I had to take the wrapper off. Oh, it is juicy, that one. I'm just blending the colours in. The reason I'm doing it while it's still in the card is because I don't have to handle it too much. So we've got quite a few orangey, kind of yellowy fish there. My finger's just locked. Ooh. Just coming back in again with that carved pumpkin. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will take one out, which I think I'm going to have this wee little fish there, because I want him or her to be a different colour. So we're going to do that one in green. As you can see, the card takes the ink quite well, like so. Takes most colours quite well, to be honest. Alright, so let's just put those colours back. And then what I want to do is I'm going to come back in and I want a texture stamp. Alright, so we've got some writing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that over and just drop it down. There we go. So I used pumice stone on that. And then on this one, I'm going to use this other stamp, which is from the Journaling Textures 1. It's this stamp here. The colour I'm using is pumice stone. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over, not very juicy anymore. It's old. It's very old. It's like me. There we go. I might just have to go over a couple of times. Let me get 2 of those at once. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll go with that bit just there. That's more like it. Alright, and now I can pop these just out of the board. Fairly straightforward. So we've now got fishes. So probably won't use those because these are probably going to be enough. All right, so what I want to do before, I always do too many. And they're swimming in one direction and he's swimming in the other, which is just kind of what we want, going in the opposite direction. All right, so before we stick those down onto that journal page, I want to create some watermarks, a little bit of ghosting. Just to kind of create some kind of bubbly texture. That should do us, I think. Grab some kitchen towel so I can dry my hands and then pick up any excess. So I'm going to let that sit on the surface just for a second or two, just for it to reactivate the colour underneath. Ghosting is always one of my favourite go-to kind of techniques. Just pop those away while I remember. And then let's see how much it's lifted off. Look at that. Yes. Say that for another day. Love that. Like that a lot. All right, so what I might do now as well, just put a little bit of stamping in the background, light stamping in the background. So again, let me use that pumice stone. And I'm just going to add just a little bit, a wee bit of texture just in that background. So this is the wrapped solo stamp. There you go. Bubble wrap, wrapped. Available now on the website. And again, what if I move my wipes? There they are. Just give that a quick clean. Okie dokes. Right, I'll give it a quick blast with the old heat gun. Right, now that ink has dried, we can bring in our little fishes. And I'm going to just add a little bit of glue. Just onto the back. Just with this fine tip applicator. And I'm going to stick him right in the middle. And then we'll do this one. So the glue I'm using is just a bog standard PVA school glue. Just been put into a fine point applicator bottle just to make it a bit easier to stick smaller items down. I love these little fishes. They're going to be so kind of useful for smaller projects, ATCs, little embellishments. Mini focals. So I'm going to leave a little bit of space for a sentiment. Cute. I should sit like that. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a small sentiment from the journaling quote set. Got some cardstock here. And a bit of Versaclair. I've got a stamping block to hand. I have just a mini one. So this one just says, if not now, then when. So a perfect kind of sentiment for somebody who wants to go and do their own thing. Kind of, if you're debating whether or not to go and do a different job, take a different career path, maybe go traveling, do something different with your life than what you would normally do. Take your life or career in a different direction, go in the opposite way. Because opposite isn't necessarily always bad. And then we'll just give that a little tickle, I think, with some distress ink. I think what we'll do is we'll use that pumice just to go around the end. And then grab a little bit of glue. There we go. Okay, left a little bit of space at the bottom. Don't always have to fill the space. I can always add some personal journaling on the bottom of there at a later date. There we go. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this little art journal page for week 38. So this will go into my journal on the front of that when it's dry enough. In fact, I can probably put some glue down on there now. I don't think any of that's going to move. I'm going to use some stronger glue because it's heavier. So I'm going to use some spirit glue. So instead of this being water based, it's alcohol based or spirit based. I don't mind it lifting up on the edges a little bit because it is textured. There we go. Yeah, that's on the right one. There we go. Right, as I was saying, so I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this little art journal page for week 38 of the Mission Inspiration Facebook group. Challenges, obviously the challenge, the prompt this week being opposites. So that's all from me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.